ask you to use your imagination today for our class today. So lengthen your spine and press your shoulder blade into your spine. Open your chest. Soften your features of your face. Let your shoulders relax and hang. Maybe you wiggle back and forth just to get very comfortable in a nice, stable, seated position. And then we just begin to breathe. And I invite you today to imagine yourself as many possibilities through our practice. Imagine yourself as an entity that's able to move, step. You're able to have all these actions. Maybe you can even imagine yourself flying, soaring, lifting up, thrusting up. And then begin to take deeper breaths to invigorate your body. To bring some gratitude because you're able to be invigorated. You're able to be here. You chose to be here. You made the sacrifices to be here. You made the decision to be here. And invite you to make your practice, have your practice be something that gives you some solid ground. Because you do this practice, because you appreciate your body, because you appreciate your opportunity, you're always going to come from a solid position, no matter where you might leap forward or fly towards. Life is full of uncertainties. I surely have a lot of uncertainties right now. I'm in transition with my job, with our kids, with school. I don't know what it's going to look like on the other end or exactly where I'm going. And perhaps maybe there's a component where everyone feels that way. So you should practice just to remind yourself that, hey, I'm starting from a solid spot. Inhale, reach your arms up and reach like you're reaching for something. You don't know what you're reaching for. And then wind your hands and make big circles with your shoulders. Inhale, reach up. Another big circle. Bring your hands beside your body. Let your arms hang. So now you feel like your arms are just hanging. Gravity's doing the work. Your fingers are loose. You're still pressing your shoulder blades into your spine. Your chest is still up. Your chin is tucked a little bit. The crown of your head is towards the ceiling. And then you lift your shoulders up. They shrug up towards your ears as you inhale. And as you exhale, you make some big circles with your shoulders now. Feeling the shoulders thrusting up, moving up as you breathe. With your next inhale, you reach again, up, 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 up. And then sort of fold forward, keeping that lower back straight. You might just rest your hands on your knees, or maybe you rest them on your knees and then you just reach forward with your chin and your head as you keep your back flat and you just find yourself resting on your thighs. Your eyes are again closed. And then you push off against your thighs like you're lifting up, and you reach up and inhale. And we exhale and we open our eyes. Let's lose our block. And then let's find ourselves in a standing position now in the front of our mat. And your feet are hip distance apart. And we're going to find some grounding. You close your eyes now. Again, like we started our practice but seated, but now we're standing. So we're moving away from the ground and now we're in mountain pose. We're ready to receive. We're ready to expand. Our eyes are closed. We inhale, our arms up. Again, we make big circles with our arms. Fingers are open wide. Inhale up and reach up. Another big circle. Inhale, shoulders up. Big circles. Inhale, shoulders up. You're grounded in your mountain pose. Okay, so I want you just to wiggle a little bit to feel grounded. Your knees are soft. I'd like you to soften your knees a lot while you keep your hips neutral, so your butt's not sticking out and your pelvis is not sticking forward. You're just really neutral. Your knees are soft. Okay, your arms are hanging. Your eyes are closed. Okay, and remember, I'd like us to focus on the faith of moving forward. We don't know where we're going, but we're going forward. So with your eyes closed, bring your arms parallel to the floor. So they're just pointing in front of you. And I want you to pretend like your hands are gripping a motorcycle. Okay? So there you are. And then now you're going to lower just a little bit more. Okay? You're in that motorcycle. Okay? Now maybe you move that throttle back and forth, moving your wrists. Okay? Just moving them slowly. And imagine yourself just throttling forward. You don't know where you're going, but we're throttling forward. Now your knees are bent. Can you bend them a little bit more, keeping your back and everything neutral? So now you're really engaged and you're feeling the road. Maybe you're riding your motorcycle in the wind. Maybe you're flying in your motorcycle. And then maybe you make some turns. So make some turns as you turn to the right. Don't be afraid to turn to the right. And then work with your breath. And I'm flying my motorcycle, so I'm turning to the left now. Okay, so just making little movements. And then straighten our knees. And then reach up. Reach forward. And then forward fold. And then widen your feet just a little bit, okay? Just widen them out to toe heel your feet outward. Soften your knees. Let your head hang. Sway back and forth. Lift your toes, wiggle your toes, grip the mat. Big bend in the left leg, big bend. So bend the left leg as much as possible. Straighten the right leg. Cock that right hip back and open up to the right. Gaze is up, looking up, opening up. And then we fold forward. Then we pick a big bend in the right leg, straightening out the left leg, cock that left hip back, bring your left arm up, reach, and try to float your arm up. So when we reach up, let's try to float, imagining we're like our arms maybe like soft fins on a fish swimming in the ocean. Look up, and then fold forward. Good. Big bend in the knees. Step your right leg back. Okay, and now rest your arms firmly over your shoulders, and then step the left leg back. You may drop your knees for a modified plank. And just push the mat away like you're pushing the earth away, and then shift into your downward dog. And then walk out your downward dog. So for today, I'd like us to focus on how we can move forward. We might not know where we're going because we keep our faith that we're going somewhere that's going to be good, but we're going to not be afraid to move forward. So we're going to inhale our right leg up. I'm going to ask you to take a small step, so maybe right under your belly button, and plant your foot right there. So you're not going to take a big step, and you're going to rise up to a short crescent, or like Cristy is in a modified low crescent. Okay, so we're just in a short crescent, and then we bring our arms down, okay, and we shift that leg back, and we're back in our downward dog, pushing that mat away. We're going to inhale, lift those heels up, and then exhale, bring those heels down. We're going to inhale, reach those heels up, let that head hang, press those shoulder blades into your spine, and then let them come down. Then we're going to inhale the left leg up,
So it's up, we're in a three-legged dog, and we're gonna take a short step. Or you come to your knees like Cristy is, and you're in a short crescent. And then we bring our arms down. And then we bring both knees down to the mat. They're on the outer edges of the mat. And then maybe we tuck a block underneath, and because we're going to shift into our child's pose, and let our head just rest on the mat, opening your fingers, reaching forward. Good. Stretch and reach forward. So just you pretend like your fingers again are like little spiders, and you just claw your way or move your way forward, and you'll feel a nice stretch under your armpits. And then let your hips rest and get a breath here. Then I invite you to tuck your toes, lift up, and then move into your downward dog again. Good job. Great job, guys. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing we did before, but we're going to take a little bit of a bigger step. Okay, so we're going to be more bold. We're going to step a little bit bigger, raising that right leg, three-legged dog. And then this time, maybe step under your shoulder or next to your hand. And then you're in a crescent, okay? Or in modified, and then you reach. So a little bit more this time. Really reaching, bringing length to your torso and reaching up. Maybe your gaze is up, and then you bring your hands back down to the mat. And then you bring that leg back. You're back in downward dog. And walking out your dog. Couple breaths here. Good. Inhale that left leg up. And now we can step it forward a little bit more. It might be under your chest, near your arms, and you're just a little bit bigger step. And you rise up to your crescent, reaching up, straightening that back leg, reaching for something imaginary, and then come back down. And you're in your downward dog, pushing that mat away. Walking out your dog, dropping your knees again, taking that child's pose again. And reaching forward. Taking a couple breaths here. Walking those little fingers to the right. Walking those little fingers to center. And then walking those little fingers to the left. Let's walk those fingers back to center. Rise up to a tabletop. Stacking, we know how to do our tabletop. We've all done this before. Terry, you might want to just rest your weight a little bit back so you don't have as much weight, or you can even sit slightly back on a block. So it's like a modified child's pose. So you can just shift your weight back a little bit. We're in tabletop, and I want everyone to imagine or just lift your arm, your right arm up and forward and reach. And then flap that arm. I want you to flap like it's a wing. Moving that arm like a wing. Just make it a wing as much as you can. Make it like this really jelly thing that's moving in the water, like you're sort of like you're paddling gently. And then bring that arm down. So the right arm's down now. Lift the left arm, and then just imagine it slowly moving through the water. And then bringing it down. Shifting our weight, finding our stability, and then extend the right leg, and then just imagine that it's in the water, and you're just like making as fluid of a motion you can. It's hard with the leg because it's like two sticks connected. But moving your feet, your toes, your ankle, you're just being as mobile as you can, lifting that leg, maybe lifting a little bit higher, and then bringing that leg down. And we extend the left leg, and then we begin to move that. Just bringing fluidity to that leg as we lift it. Moving your toes, just moving your ankles, your knees, your hips, and then coming back down. Good. Now tuck our toes. Shift back, you're in your downward dog. Okay, we're in downward dog. And again, the theme today is just moving forward. Action, that action can be flying, riding, hopping, jumping, but you're going forward. I don't know where we're going. So I'm going to ask you to do from your downward dog very little. So imagine 6 inches, maybe it's 4 inches, that you're just going to hop, you're going to bend your knees, just a little bend, and you're going to hop forward. That's it, little bend. So it's just a little hop. And then we just push off and hop back, just a little hop. Okay, now maybe you can't do that, so maybe you'll step 1 foot and then step another foot. Okay, so you're back in your downward dog. We're in downward dog. Okay, we're going to do a little bunny hop, and we're forward. Letting our head hang, bunny hop, or step back. Push that mat away. One more little bunny hop. Bend the knees. Bend your knees. Little hop. Good. And then step back. And then push that mat away. Then walk your feet towards your hands to find yourself in your forward fold. We're in our forward fold. Let's grab opposite hand, opposite elbow, and just sway back and forth. Soften your knees. Good. Swaying back and forth. Let's toe heel our feet together as we bring our hands to the mat. Okay, our back is flat, and I'd like a big bend, and then rise up the chair. And we do 2 things in chair as we move forward. We're gonna inhale and come to standing with our feet together. And we fold forward. And I like to bring my arms outward to balance me and then fold forward. And then let's bend, the big bend in our knees. Maybe it's a bigger bend. And we come back up the chair, reaching up, taking a breath. And then we rise up the mountain, reach forward. And then I like to make a big swing with my arms, almost like I'm, again, making those big shoulder motions, and then dive down. And then another big bend in our knees. We find ourselves in chair. Another opportunity to move forward. We don't know where we're going, but we lift our heels. Lift your heels. Maybe you lift 1 foot like Cristy does, and then bring your heels down. Fold forward. Big bend in your knees. Okay, big bend in your knees. Look at your toes. Lift your toes. You haven't done anything yet. But now we get the opportunity to rise up the chair again. And then we get to move up with our lift our heels, and maybe lift the other side of the other foot. Lift. And then fold forward. Nice. Really nice. Inhale, reach up. Fold forward. Take a halfway lift. Put your hands on your shins, your thighs, crown of the head forward. Stick your rear end back. Press your shoulder blades into your spine. You're really long. You're relieving all the pressure from your lower back. And then plant your hands on the mat. Step to a modified plank or a plank. Shift your weight forward. Pull your belly button in. Push the mat away. And then shift back to your downward dog. Let's inhale our right leg up. Okay. And take a step forward. Open up to warrior 1. Or to modified warrior 1 like Cristy's doing. Good. And then open up to warrior 2. Good. And then drop that arm onto your thigh and take an extended side angle. And then bring as much length as you can along your side here. And then drop that hand down. Bring that leg back. You're back in downward dog. And breathe. And drop to your knees. Put in a block underneath your knees and find yourself in your child's pose. And just take a couple breaths. Catch your breath. Good. Let's tuck our toes. Rise up to downward dog. Inhale that left leg up. Really lift it this time. And then step it forward for warrior one on the left. Or you're on your knees. Opening up to warrior two. That's great, guys. And bring length to your arms, opening your chest, open your chest. Wonderful. Then drop that left arm to your thigh. Reach for an extended side angle. You're reaching forward. Your gaze is up. Your toes, your front toes are pointing forward. And you're lifting that right hip up. Someone's pulling that right hip up towards the sky. Good. Then come back down with your arms. You find yourself in a plank or modified plank. And then we shift back to downward dog. Then we walk our feet to the front of the mat. And we get to rise up to mountain. Bringing our hands to heart center. Let's all turn to the side of our mat as we're in mountain. And then we widen our stance. So now we're in a widened stance with our hands at heart center. Eyes are closed or our gaze is forward, so we find a focus. And then we start to squat down into a goddess pose, bringing our arms to goalpost arms. And then we extend our arms outward at 90 degrees, and we're going to just pretend like we're flying. We're in goddess pose, but we're flying now. We're strong for whence we came. We have no idea where we're going because of uncertainty, but we have faith. And we just fly forward. Closing our eyes, imagine yourself, maybe you're going through some clouds. Maybe the sky is clear. Maybe there's somebody with you and you're flying, and then you straighten your legs out and reach up. Inhale. Exhale. Bringing your hands to heart center. Catching your breath. That was a long flight. That was a nice flight. I don't know where we landed. Maybe some people are still flying. Now we bend our legs. We're in goddess pose still. Our eyes are closed, or you have a focused drishti. Just let your mind go. And then your arms are in front of you now, okay? And they're parallel to the floor. Your hands and your fingertips are extended. And now we're moving our arms, and now we're sort of like swimming, flying. Okay, so you're just, that motion with your arms. You don't know where you're going, but we're just moving. Maybe you lower a little bit in your goddess pose. And then straighten your legs, and then reaching up. And then bringing your hands back to heart center. I really like that flying. We're going to try that one more time. Lower our legs back in goddess pose, maybe a little bit lower. Bringing your arms out like a T on both sides. You're a T. And this is your last flight, at least as a bird. So just close your eyes and just motion those arms. Let them flap. And then breathe. Maybe we're a flock and we're all going somewhere. I saw a flock of geese this week. I saw many of them. Flock. And then just motion with the arms. Straightening the legs, reaching up toward the sky. Hands to heart center, taking a breath. And then bending the knees just a little bit. So we're not in a power bend, but just a little bit. And then we raise up. And then we just reach forward. Just reach forward. Cocking your hips back, and then find yourself like your body is parallel to the floor. And you're reaching forward to grab something, like you're going to reach somebody. Okay? And then you inhale and come back up. So your back is nice and flat. Good. Bring your hands back to heart center.
Good. And then bring your feet together. Okay. And then now we have another opportunity here. This will engage our core a little bit, okay? Won't be too hard. What we're gonna do is slow marches. Okay, so you can imagine yourself, we're all in a group. Let's close our eyes, our hands are heart center. Okay, guys? Catch your breath. So take a couple breaths here, and we're all walking. I don't know where we're walking to. So imagine maybe where we can be. We're all together, okay? And we're gonna slowly like march. So maybe sort of like just the group marching together. So we're gonna raise the right leg, okay? So we're gonna slow march and bring it down, okay? It's hard to do it slowly. Raise the left leg and bring it down. So we're doing these slow marches, march. So do it at your own cadence. Maybe you need to just not lift your foot too much. And so you're just doing these little mini marches. But I invite you to take a bigger march, a bigger step, raising that knee as we're marching forward. Raise, and you'll see it makes you work your core. Raise, and it's a little bit of a balance pose with your eyes closed. If you don't want to close your eyes, focus your drishti on something. Eyes closed really makes it hard. That's what I was doing. So I invite you, if your eyes are open and it's easy, close your eyes. And then you realize you really got to engage your core. And you're taking these small marches. I'm imagining all of us in the desert. I don't know why. I think it's because I read a book this week about that. The desert was in the book. Raise. Good. Good. Okay. Everyone, let's open our eyes. Okay, we imagine marching forward. Soften your left knee. Put your weight on your left knee and then just raise that right knee. And just hold it there. Maybe you extend your foot a little bit, or maybe you don't. And then bring that leg back down. Shift your weight towards your right foot. You're in line. Your right hip is over your ankle and your knee. And then you raise the left. And maybe you keep it there, or you extend that leg. Good, and then bring it back. Fantastic. Stay where you are. Or actually, I don't know if you guys have space or not. Maybe you should turn to the front end of your mat now. Okay. Keeping in with our theme with moving forward, we're going to inhale our arms up. Okay. Bring them down to our hips. Okay. Extend your left arm out. Okay. And then pivot at your hips. First start pivoting and then lifting that back leg, and you're going to be in one line. And then when you're ready, swing that arm back and find yourself in an airplane. And imagine you're taking flight. Lifting that leg. Straightening. Your hips are going to be parallel to the mat. And then bringing that leg down. Inhale, reach up. Bring your hands to your waist. Extend that right arm. Hinge at your hip. And then lift that left leg. And then find yourself in an airplane on the left. Lifting that foot, flexing that back foot, and then lifting. And then coming back to center. Inhale, reach up. And then fold forward. And then find yourself on your tummy. Okay, we'll just go straight down to the mat on our tummy. Good. Okay, we're on our tummy now. Our chin is on the mat. And why don't we just bring our arms, my arms are at, my hands are at the level of my head, and my arms are, and my elbows are splayed out. And your feet are touching together, okay? And we have the opportunity here, we can do this modified if we need to, so we can do one limb at a time. But we're
we're just going to go through the motion here. We're going to let's lift our right leg up. So we're lifting our right thigh up, okay? And our toes are pointing back. And your leg is straight, so your leg is trying to stay midline. It's not splaying out. It's trying to stay midline. And then we're going to just do some little kicks, okay? So I want you to imagine you're like it's like you're a submarine and you're moving forward, okay? And you're making kicks. Okay, good. And release. Our left foot is pointed back, and we lift that left leg and we do kicks. Just lifting it, we're just like lifting our leg up, bringing it down. We don't rest it completely and just making kicks. You may make larger kicks, you may make little flutter kicks, and then we bring it down. Good. Now we have the opportunity to extend our right arm out, okay? And then we flap. Good, we bring our hand back down. We extend our left hand out and we flap. And we bring that hand down. You guys know what's coming next, right? We did each limb, so you can stay doing each limb if you want, okay? But now we're gonna progress to 2 limbs being together and then 4, okay? Because we're strong from where we're coming, even though we don't know where we're going. Lift both thighs up, and then small flutter kicks. We're all mermaids right now, okay? My daughter's into mermaids. We still have aerial. We have like 5 aerials. So you're mermaids. You're lifting up little flutters, and we're swimming through, okay? We're all mermaids. Lift, lift, relax, bring it down. You know what's coming next. Both arms, both hands extend forward, and you're lifting up. You might lift your shoulders up, so it'll be a little bit easier. And then we swim. Okay, we're swimming forward. Swaying our arms, swimming forward. Lifting our shoulders, swimming forward. Again, you may do 1 limb. You may come down and rest, and then come back down. Good. Okay, here it comes. We're putting it all together. Okay, we're going to be Aquaman or we'll be Aquawoman, if that exists. I don't know. We're going to extend our arms, lift our legs. So you're in this Superman pose, and then let's kick our feet, flutter our feet and our arms, and we're swimming. We're swimming. We're working our back muscles, which is good. We're swimming. Keep swimming in this. Keep swimming. And then come back down. Good. And rest. Good job, guys. Good job. Okay. It's nice to rest, isn't it? Okay. Bring your hands like to the level of your shoulders and then just lift up for a little baby cobra. You can do a sphinx like Cristy is. I like doing a little cobra and just bringing a little bit of passive stretch to my back. Okay, and then everybody finds yourself on a tabletop. Good, guys. Okay, let's do those big hips. Let's just make those big circles now because that's nice. And when you make those big circles, really exaggerate sucking your belly button in as you come up and massages your lower back. Get a little lower back work there. Good. And then change directions. Okay, and come back up to neutral. Now, everybody find yourself seated on your bottom. Good. Okay, and lay on your back, bringing your feet towards your, bringing your feet towards your bottom. And then give yourself a little bit of a hug with those knees, and you get to massage that back now. So it's a little bit of a counter stretch the other way. That should feel nice after we did all that swimming. Okay, then bring your feet onto the mat. Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys to do a couple things here in bridge, okay? And so I know everyone's been doing bridge with Cristy, but I'm gonna ask you to bring a little bit more power and a little bit more motion into it. So here we have, we're
on our backs, our feet are on the mat. Now, I would like everybody just to get the sensation of how this works. Extend your right leg onto the mat. So the left foot is near your bottom with your left knee pointed up, and your right leg is resting on the mat. Okay, and your hands are by your side with your palms facing the mat, and your fingers are wide open. Okay. Now, I want you to just imagine, we're not going to lift up. We're not doing anything. We're just going to focus on the right leg. You're going to raise that right leg and then bring it to a bend and pretend like that leg is marching. So you extend it. So just like we were when we were doing the standing leg raise, okay, we're doing the same thing. We're bringing our right knee towards our chest, and then we're flexing our right foot, okay? So you're imagining your right foot's pushing off the ground, and then it's lifting like that. So that's all. We're imagine that leg. So I want everyone to do that like a couple times. So that right leg is marching and it's lifting up. Okay, and then you extend it out and bring it down. One more time, up, and then we bring it down. Okay. If life were so easy, right? I mean, because there's always something you have to add to life, right? I don't know why, but life, it seems like. So now we're going to try this. We're going to lift our hips. So you're going to push off against the left foot. So now you're like in the bridge pose with that right leg extended. And now obviously that right leg is, because the right hip is up, you got a little gap under there, okay? This may be all you do and you come back down, okay? And that's fine, okay? But if you want to do more, we're going to go in one motion. We're going to lift that leg as we come up and march that leg and then bring it down, okay? So what's happening is as we lift, so we don't lift the leg after we come up, as we're coming up, we're marching forward and lifting our hips. So then everything's in unison, pushing off against your left foot, rising the hips and doing our march. And let's march. 1, bringing that leg down. We'll just do 5. 2, bringing that leg down. So we're all marching again. I don't know if we're marching in that desert, but we're marching together. 3. I like to imagine we're marching somewhere nicer. 4. And then last one, 5. Good. Now bring that right foot up next to your bottom and then just sway those legs back and forth. So you're just swaying back and forth. Okay, do that about 3 times, 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, but this time we're going to widen our stance. So bring those feet out a little bit. And then actually what I like doing here, you might want to try this, is now our stance, my toes are pointing outward and my feet are wider than my hips. Bring your knees together and then open them. Knees together, open, and then now do a big wide sway back and forth. Good. Feels nice on the hips. Nice. Okay, guys, we always do 2 sides. So now let's bring our feet back up to underneath our bottoms. Okay, scoochie your bottom next to your feet, your heels. Okay, again, your arms are next to you, your palms down, your fingertips are spread open wide. Okay, we extend the left leg. So extend the left leg. Okay, feel yourself planted on the right foot. Okay, and we're just going to practice the march on this side and see what it feels, just for some muscle awareness. So lifting that leg, flexing that foot, and we march that knee towards our chest, and then we extend the leg out. Then we get to march again, maybe go a little deeper, then come out. Keeping your belly engaged, keeping your lower back pressed to the mat. We do that a couple more times, and then we have the opportunity to either just lift the hips or march, lift hips. Okay. And then one more time. Good. Extend that left leg. And then we get ready. Okay. So for those that just want to lift your hips, just lift your hips with the leg extended. And if you want more from that, you can just also just keep your leg extended and lift the leg in bridge. So you can add more, or we would do the march. So let's do our march. Ready? And lift hips and march. Coming down. Lift hips and march, coming down. 3 more. Lift hips and march coming down. Good. Lift hips and march coming down. 1 more. Lift hips and march coming down. Good. Extend both legs onto the mat. Reach up above your head, bringing length. Point your toes downward. Reach, 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 reach. Good. And then reach for your knees and bring your knees to your chest. Rocking again back and forth. And then dropping your heels to the mat, bring your feet and soles of your feet together in a butterfly pose with one arm, one hand on your belly button, one hand on your heart. And then just catch your breath. Okay. One more opportunity to ground ourselves and be strong in our base. So maybe sometimes it doesn't matter. We have faith exactly where we're headed, but what does matter is where we come from. Trying to come from a solid place of spirit, mind, and body. And maybe our yoga practice is a good sort of simulation for that, a good opportunity to practice that. Bring your knees together, okay? And I'm gonna offer 2 things, okay? So for those of us that feel like I just wanna be more passive, okay? Because I just wanna sort of let my mind be my focal point and less my body. You can either do a waterfall, which is what Cristy will do. She'll put the block under her her heels, under her hips, and then she'll be in a waterfall, which she'll be staring at her toes. Or I'm going to ask the other ones of you to be in a waterfall, but without a block. And so when you do that, okay, you're going to immediately realize, just touch your belly. If you lift your legs, okay, that your belly's hard. So you've engaged your core. So that's an opportunity for something. So we can reach our arms towards our toes, okay, and just stay right here, or we can just do a little crunch where we're trying to touch our toes and then come back down. It's all up to you, okay? Waterfall, or just you can just lift your shoulders. Don't reach, just lift your shoulders, or you can lift your shoulders and touch. Okay, so I'm going to ask you for 10 breaths to do that. There's no count. You can breathe 10 times and do what you feel. Maybe you'll do a mixture of the two. Okay? So you have an opportunity here, working with your breath, reaching towards something. You don't know what you're reaching towards. Legs are up. Maybe you straighten your legs up a little bit more. Trying to bring those legs over your hips. Couple more breaths here. Reaching up, coming back down. And then reaching up, and then coming back down. Then everybody bring your feet down towards the mat. Good. Your feet now are on the mat, under your bottom, like when we started bridge, okay? And then now we're gonna do a reclined pigeon, bringing the right leg, crossing it over, making a figure 4 with your right leg. And you can just stay here, or you can sort of work that hip by pushing the right knee outward and down. And if you want more, you would actually be bringing your left foot towards your chest. So you can either do that by using your leg to do that, your left leg, or I sometimes just like lift my left leg and then I use my left hand to guide that left foot towards my chest as I work that right knee outward. And then just hold a few breaths here. And you'll feel the nice stretch all along your hips, the outer parts of your right thigh. Flex both feet. Okay, if you flex it, you'll feel something completely different than if you don't. And just breathe. And as you exhale, you just let go a little bit more. Good, and bring that both legs back down to the mat, both feet back down to the mat, should I say. Fantastic. Now let's do the other side. Let's cross the left, and this is my crazy side. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. So this side, I really can't, I have trouble bringing my foot towards my chest. So you may find that you have one side that's a little bit more than the other. So I'm just in a figure four and I'm just working that left knee outward. I'm tugging a little bit on my ankle, bringing it towards my chest. And I'm trying to keep my hips planted on the mat. And I'm just trying to release. I'm not trying to cause pain, but trying to sort of have an opportunity to do something that maybe my hips need. Again, flexing both feet. I actually kept my right foot on the floor on this side. And that's nice, and then release. Good. Extend both legs onto the mat. Reach for another stretch. Okay, this time you're gonna bring your right knee towards your chest, and you're just gonna guide that right knee as much as you can, depends on your flexibility, towards that right armpit. And you're just gonna squeeze it in. Squeeze it in, let it sink in. And then grab that knee with your right hand, okay? And then extend your left arm outward to your side in like a T fashion and open your hip. So guide that right knee outward, and so you're opening up your hip. You may rest it maybe on a block. You're just opening your hip, and you may find that you can rest it all the way down to the ground. And as you come down, you'll notice that your hip goes towards your feet. You might give it a little pull towards your ear. And then bring that leg back to neutral. Now let's grab that knee with the left. We'll do a spinal twist on this side. Extend your right arm, gaze over the right, and just twist gently on the other side. Nice stretch on our hips. Reach with your right arm as you're reaching out. And then come back up to neutral. Hug both of those knees in. Sway back and forth. Good. Extend the right leg now. We get the other side. And then bring that left knee towards the left armpit. Fantastic. Flexing that left foot. Seeing if you can bring that knee a little bit closer. And then opening up and guiding that knee outward onto the floor, extending your right arm out. So some of you are doing a spinal twist on this side. If you are, then open your hip on the next one. Bring your knees towards the center. And then now we do the spinal twist. But if some of you did spinal twist, then open up your hip, opening it up to the other side, and then twist. So we're both opening the hip and then twisting the hip. And then pulling that hip in. And then coming back to center. And then extending both legs. And if you have your block nearby, you can do one of two things. You can tuck your block under your hips, okay, just under your hips. And then you just feel a little bit of support, softening your knees. Or, okay, what I like to do sometimes is tuck my hands under my bottom, bring my elbows in, and then I can bring a lift that way. So that's a little bit more active. So if you want something more active, okay, where you cock your head, you open your throat, and your gaze would be back and your elbows in, or you can just bring your, so it's like a fish pose or just a supported opening pose where you're just opening your hips And if you have the block under your hips, it's really nice also to just, you can do a Supta Baddha Konasana if you want. So you can bring your feet together and open your knees, or you can just extend your legs. So it's whatever you want to do. You can do a fish pose, which is a little bit more active. You tuck the hands, bring the elbows, lift the chest and look back. Or we can tuck our block under our hips and just relax and opening our chest. Or we can do a Supta Baddha Konasana, which is nice because it relieves some of that pressure off our hips because our legs aren't extended. We don't feel less tension on the hip, on our lower back. So I have the block and I'm in Supta Baddha Konasana. And then just breathe. So I'm going to invite you to either stay in this pose if it's comfortable. If you're in a fish pose with your hands tucked and your elbows in, you want to probably just rest on the mat because we're going to take our final resting pose. You can stay here, maybe take this as your resting pose. I'm going to choose to remove the block, and I like to completely be in a corpse pose. Close your eyes, bring your palms this time now facing towards the sky. Your feet are spread out. Your shoulders are pressing into the mat. Your hips are grounded, and you just begin to breathe. And this time, allow your breath to take you wherever it wants to take you. Bring your knees towards your chest as you lengthen your breath and waken from your rest. Extending the right arm above your head, roll to the right. Resting your head on your right arm. Your eyes are closed. Taking a couple breaths of stillness. And then float your way with your eyes closed to the front of your mat. Finding yourself in a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. I actually did not exactly know what I was going to teach because I've been sort of uncertain with a lot of things. So uncertainty was sort of I knew I was starting with, and I felt that maybe when you're uncertain, you just worry more about being grounded and moving forward than about where you are. So I'll finish with a quote from William Faulkner. You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore. The light in me honors the light in each one of you. Namaste.
Namaste.